Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so a very warm welcome to this weekly forecast of week 9, the weekly outlook. So I want to start this week going from the monthly down on EU, and I first want to give some advice. Um, you know, like I try to give some advice with every outlook, and today I want to basically share with you the reason we're doing this is because we want to snipe. We want to be very precise with these trades, um, so we can risk more. I mean, what is um, the other reason? I am on the side, I rather want to have a higher win rate to be able to risk more and be confident in the trade. It's also a mental aspect. Another thing I want to mention is look, this is the monthly chart. So this is basically um, like 2 years roughly. And this is the Biden administration and weak EU leaders. And look at what has happened here to the chart. It was basically ranging and creating this whole mess of liquidity here on a monthly, just for Trump to now come in and push this market to the other side. Now another thing I want to show you is look at the wicks. So this obviously has gotten taken out because there's this imbalance, this weekly imbalance here and a monthly, and we've tapped into this. And look at the wicks. The wicks protect this price. Did not, they did not let price go lower basically. Um, Price just tapped in here and accumulated many orders. Um, and it looks pretty bullish to me if you ask me. And this is the end of the month now. Should we close like this looks very bullish. Plus, we now have some imbalance here to the upside. So let's go into the analysis. So this weekly imbalance here, the internal level. We gotta shift here, obviously. Gotta shift here. It all shifted. We have left this imbalance here. We've left the auto block. We gapped down, opened. Alright. Um, just recently, price is not respecting the auto blocks to the T. That just happened here. That happened on the 4 hour and on the hourly just recently. So price is just doing its thing, and it looks like a lot of orders here are getting accumulated, and right now it's a mess, obviously, because there's a lot going on here, and a lot of orders to both sides. But this is the higher time frame narrative, and we have tapped into this. Plus, we've kind of respected this auto block here. So it looks pretty bullish to me if you ask me. However, we've just gotten to the top here, so here would have been a good entry. But we have also shifted within the wicks internally, so this daily internal full body closed above. There's the wick here. So this is just something to note. So we're building the narrative here for the week. So we then see that here there's a pretty good perfect mitigation. So I think that was the daily, and it's working here. Here again, that is the ugly one, but here we had the shift and it has worked. And also just note how price did not take out external here right away. So rather we have mitigated the auto block. We've then came down to the internal again to then shift to the upside. So it's all a game of knowingness, of patience, and probability, basically. So, what to expect from EU? Well, first, I want to look at the dollar index, at the futures chart, and make it clean. And here, obviously, it's the same thing, vice versa. Um, let's have a look at the daily, basically. So, um, yeah, here that is the auto block, the wicks protect kind of, as you can see. We then had a shift here, obviously. Price came to the auto block, came to this one. So this is also a pretty nice mitigation, and to me, this again, so we have a pretty important level here, right here, which is the same thing on EU. And should we be able to break this, we could potentially run much lower because we also got imbalance down here. So that is what the index is telling me. Now let's have a look at sentiment. And the retail traders on the futures of the dollar index were pretty bullish on the weekly. It just recently so shifted, but there you go. Have a look at this. Um, yeah, so even got a weekly shift. So this is a pretty important level here on the weekly, and even retail sentiment, even though it kind of shifted, just tells me they were net long, so smart money is going net short, meaning the opposite for Euro USD. So here we have now the potential to go much higher. So the let me just delete this. So the bias is uh, bullish on this one, and this seems like an important level. Yeah, this is weekly, so gotta have a look at this. Now I will make it clean now. So that is the weekly level here. That is the full body, and this is the external level we're looking here. So yeah, question is, how can we get involved in this thing? What I don't like is still this one. It's still this one because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. This looks all nice and efficient. Here we even have an imbalance down here, but we might not get to it. And this is something I'm just figuring out right now too, to which fair value gaps, imbalances, however you want to call them. I'm not into names. Which ones are getting attacked right away, or which ones just much later. So here, to be very honest with you, it's a little bit tricky because this is all a mess, but it's all efficient, kind of. So I would focus on this daily level here for now. So, um, yeah, this is all efficient here. Yeah, I would just focus at this daily level here. We even got some imbalance sitting here, so it could wick into this with some news or something. That could be possible. This kind of looks like liquidity because people would be tempted to see this as a shift. So that would make sense. So that could be a level on EU. Now let's shift to the other pairs. And for now, yeah, I'm not going against this long-term trend right here, even though we had a nice mitigation just here. Yeah, you could now probably just sell and see if we break here, but I would probably miss out on this trade because it's again against this trend. Just with small risk if you want to. Um, yeah, so let's boil down GU. We've just analyzed the dollar index. Um, Here again, kind of same thing. There are the levels, like the full body and the weekly external level. That's that. So we have this. We had the shift here. We then had shifts here. So there you go. So what I would be watching here is obviously this internal level, and I will mark this right away because um, this is something to watch. Let me delete those. Yeah, so here something could happen, and then I would expect price to push from here and then potentially higher. But we will see. Again, it's just trading, just probabilities. Gold, obviously, it's not no rocket science. Um, yeah, you see all these imbalances, they all worked out pretty much, pretty good. Now, what's happening? So, the wicks tell a story. Here, it is kind of indicating to me that here, with these wicks, 3 weeks in a row. Now, let's have a look at weekly order flow, which is bullish, meaning it took out the external all the time. So what is likely going to happen? Same thing. We could likely take out with the bias, so bias is bullish, take out this external level right here, um, which again is bullish, but the wicks all the way indicate that we could take this out and then at some point reverse. Now, obviously, this could continue for another few weeks. Like there's no given time frame, obviously, when this could stop. But this now again correlates with fundamental news, depending on what's coming up, plant news events, and stuff that is just happening in the world. And yeah, so we would expect price to take this out. That's the bias. Let's see how we can get involved and then potentially shift at some point. And this is all efficient. Here's a small imbalance, but this is the next reasonable one. So let's just scale it down a bit. Now this one already got used. It's interesting. That one already got used. So I expect price to just push higher now. Yeah, this is all a mess. Here we're kind of getting the shift right now. So yeah, it is looking, yeah, we've even mitigated this. Alright, so see how this works. Same thing here, we've mitigated this. So yeah, it is just giving us kind of this push here, and it looks like it is finally flying, breaking out of this whole mess here, and then yeah, probably taking this one out and then potentially going a little bit lower, but we don't know when this is. So for now it's just bullish, so we can kind of mark this one. Alright, now let's go down to silver, the correlated asset. Yeah, here's the auto block. It pretty nicely reacted to this inner level. Now, what is happening? So this again is the external level, which makes a lot of sense. Here's another one to watch. Here we got a shift. So this is all happening. We had the internal level. It's all pretty efficient. Alright. So obviously we have a level here and we have this level. So these are things to watch. This is the external level here, so keep that in mind. The animals right here are funny outside. So yeah, this is just something to watch here, and it just looks like we could get a shift to either side. It's just a kind of ranging in here, so we could get a push to either side. Um, yeah, that's just something to look out for with this pair. Alright, so let's move on. Yeah, now obviously we've got this internal level which we're just about to tap into, and we've got this low here which is kind of a double bottom, whatever. Um, yeah, so it looks pretty bearish at this point. However, we should come in here. There's imbalance on the daily. It definitely looks more bearish, so we have to see where we could tap into. So we definitely have some internal levels to come to, and how I would play this is let the price come in and look at on the hourly for a shift. Yeah, I will actually mark this one right here. Um, yeah, and let's just watch them. Now here it should be the same on all indices pretty much because they're all kind of correlated. Again, sometimes the Nasdaq and so on can work differently. Small caps are a different story too, but in general they are kind of connected that way. These are the levels pretty much. Yeah, and again it is looking pretty bearish here. There we go. Yeah, here again I would have a look at this. Just could come a little bit more up here. Just a patience game. Right now it is looking like it's just moving lower more, and we had to shift here. We're a little bit late into this and it's just in the middle, so I'm not interested in that trade right here. Here on the other hand, it is looking like we could, like we're definitely bearish now into here or lower, like who knows. But um, yeah, here it's kind of more narrow with the price action, with the Nasdaq, like a lot of accumulation here to both sides. Now external taken out, and as you can see obviously immediately here accumulation after the takeout of the external liquidity, and then we're moving lower. So yeah, it's just how order flow works pretty much. Here with GJ, I traded this pair last week. This is the external level, that's an important level. um, yeah, I would have loved for price to actually come into this. It did not. It now came into this. Um, it came into this, and we actually shifted here with the London Open. Interesting. So it now just wants to go lower as it looks. Um, Give me a second. I just have to watch for something. Yeah, so it is just moving lower right now. Um, yeah, so here I'm setting an alarm to this low here. um, yeah, so we could potentially come in here and then shift, but it right now looks like we've already shifted here on the hourly. There's this nasty auto block and then going lower to fulfill this target. So yeah, um, so that basically was the trade of last week. So there's not a lot to do right now, except letting it play out, um, or wait for that imbalance here again, and then yeah, go lower. Now, AU has basically it's a very like this doesn't make sense on the weekly. It makes sense on the monthly, on the highest time frame, if you will. And we had it take out this one and now the shift, and that is basically the top because there's no more. We just tapped into this monthly imbalance here, so gotta be careful. We should get some reaction here, but it could now fly all the way to the upside in the next weeks. So that's something to watch out for. Here on the weekly, it's a different story, but we shifted, which is pretty important. And here, that was that imbalance. And now here, that is the top. So, what can we do? We can have a look at this auto plug here, or at the lower one, and look for a shift on the lower time frame then, and then look to play it to the upside basically. So yeah, that is something we can look out for, but again, we need confirmation, we need this shift. This should be kind of the same story here, but here it makes sense. On the weekly we had the shift here too. That is the upper level too. We had this imbalance here too. Now we've got this imbalance. So here it's a little bit clearer price action on the NU. Yeah, as you can see, we're probably about to break this and shift, taking out external here. So yeah, here's a potential level, or down here, just gotta wait for those shifts. And here's another internal level, but here's another internal level. So, and here then everything is efficient. So this could be a reasonable level. So we have to wait for that shift basically. And I'm choosing this pair because in my opinion it's clearer, but we have to see with the news what's happening. Yeah, so here we had the shift, we have this obvious imbalance here, and also had this shift here. So if you ask me, it looks like, because obviously that is the dollar on the other side, it looks to me like price wants to, this could be external and price wants to shift down all the way. Now Obviously here everything is efficient. We now have this weekly auto clock. So this is an important level to look out for. Um, Here, however, is another one which we can look out for. Um, yes, so these are two important levels. I'm setting an alarm here too. Um, yeah, but we need that low time frame confirmation, that shift, and from here we could go. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Now here I'm not using trend lines to be honest, but here that one's pretty obvious. So we had a shift here, and that's the same thing with the dollar. We had this mitigation, had the imbalance shift, boom boom, imbalance shift to the downside. So we still got this one here because it's a big one. We got this auto clock here, but we also got this one here. So that's pretty obvious too. So we could get a trade here. I'm still not interested in the Canadian, um, simply because I don't like the price action and I don't like the fundamental stuff, so I'm skipping it. And that's also pretty important to know when to skip a pair. And here, because that's Euro JPY, we did not tap into this balance, which is kind of frustrating. Um, so here it's pretty obvious we're in this big ass range, and we just can do two things. So we can break to the downside or can shift here inside to here, and then the same thing. Could shift again. Like this is just a big range. So here on the daily, however, kind of are bearish on that recent price action. So we just have to see. I don't have a real bias for this one, so I want to see it break this one to move higher and then break again. So yeah, from here anything could happen basically. So that is my analysis pretty much on that pair. Yeah, here we're bearish all the way. Just have to fulfill this objective. So what can we do here? Well, we already know the bias, so that's a pretty obvious internal level. So that is something to watch, to look out for, and to potentially trade. Now here target already fulfilled, kind of shifted. We weren't able to break this. It's just a big mess. On this one, on the weekly, it's clear. So that's messy price action here too. So I don't like these wicks. I would have loved a clear break. Then we see this. It's not beautiful price action if you have a look at this. So again, it's important to know when also to stay away. Yeah, so that's just something to look out for. This is a longer review today, as you can see, but I hope you enjoy. Yeah, obviously it's bearish here on this end, but question is where can we get in, where to put the stop loss. Well, here it's all efficient, to be honest. So I would have a look at this daily level here, at the shift here. Yeah, we're kind of in the middle. So what you can do, wait. Yeah, we have an internal level here. Sorry. Yeah, so basically wait for price to tap into this or here and give a shift on a lower time frame and then target external. So that is something to note, so we can mark this, but it's not beautiful. Alright, here we kind of already broke. That's great. So we are bullish on this one. It finally happened at the start of the week, and we've got this internal level. So from here we could actually get a shift, but I don't like the Canadian too much right now. That is basically the bias for this week. Should be bullish. So a lot is going on. That's fun. That actually makes me look forward for this week. Great. So here we still have this external sitting here. Yeah. So this actually makes me look forward for this week. I'm skipping this shitty pair. It, yeah, kind of had to shift. But where do we come down to? Could potentially come down to one of these levels. This is now liquidity here. Whatever, I'm not happy with this one. Here, shifted on the full body. The wicks always protected. What the fuck is this? Man, this looks stupid. This looks fucking stupid. I'm not interested in that shitty price action here. Yeah, we should go lower. Bias is bearish. That's it. The question is, could we come up here? Whatever. I'm not seeing anything clear. We have a small imbalance here. We already kind of filled this. Nah, skipping this. Here, whatever. Tapped into this imbalance again. Gave a shift. Reacted here. Kind of shifted here. We got this imbalance here. Yeah, this long term should be bullish. Long term should be bullish. Not sure where it is reacting. Could stop here, and then this is the external target. Yeah, so just potentially here. Now all these arrows are here for bias and direction. It's not for entry, so you have to wait for that shift, for that confirmation. Yeah, what the fuck is this pair? Yes, we could react from here, give a shift to the upside, but it's not great. Potential here, this is the level, so should we break above here, we could potentially run higher. So that's just something to note. We weren't able to break above here. Interesting. Shifted on the daily. This should be bearish. Could go down here. And here we've just created this internal level. So with confirmation, could probably do this. This is also just fulfilling its objective. Nothing to get in here right now. Here looks the same way, bearish. Just creating this internal level here. Same thing, kind of. We must break below here if we want to go lower. Here's an important level. There we go. just took it out. Not interested in this one right now here. Neither should go lower. All pretty efficient. We're late into this. Another JPY pair, same thing here. Skip this one too. That one's interesting. Yeah, as marked last week, I guess. Yeah, we have this internal level, which we also just tapped into. We had the shift here, so for me it's kind of obvious that we shift higher, like we already shifted. So you could enter here. Now it's consolidating. It's definitely probably going lower. I love to say that. Yeah, so the question is, where could it come into? I'm not sure at this point. I'm not sure. It looks like it could shift here. Like it could, it does not have to. It's consolidating. It's probably just flying up at this point, but it could go lower. I don't know where, to be completely honest. But at some point, because I don't see any more imbalances, so it could react at auto clocks, and for that it could react at this daily auto clock or here at the body, depending on the news, and then fly higher, or it just immediately flies higher. So we have these two options basically, but this is the external target. It's pretty clear here for me that we've many good opportunities this week. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that week. So we're basically this one obviously kind of the same. Yeah, I'm not. No, fuck this pair. Like, what's even going on here? No, but we should be all right. Now that is just the reaction to this imbalance here. That's the target. That's pretty good. That is the next external target here. Yeah, we are kind of reacting to this. We've shifted here. That's the next one. So yeah, market is just doing its thing, but this, yeah, should we shift here again? That would be the obvious target, and then here, kind of. Alright, that's it for the majors and some minor pairs. Now that is the most important futures analysis. Here again we had the shift on the Japanese yen. This huge imbalance here. So we still have this one sitting here. That's something to note. Now let's have a look at Bitcoin. It's that's a big pain in the ass. Yeah, it must suck to trade crypto right now. I'm not trading it. Yeah, it's just a big consolidation with all these wicks. There's no clear target. Like it's just narrowing down. This range gets smaller and smaller until something is happening. So yes, we get these internal shifts here, but then again, all these wicks coming in, now it's shifting to the downside again. Look at this price action. This is nothing you want to trade. Now here, this is actually pretty obvious. So with small caps, we reacted to this 21 high here. We then got the shift here, so this is an obvious low, and it could go much lower. and we have basically reacted to this this internal level here. Wow. All right. So this is why it was consolidating here. Yeah. And here we had these internal shifts. So for me, this is more bearish. Now we had the election in my country, in Germany. The DAX is kind of flying, doing fine. Recently just dipped a bit. Yeah, I don't have a real agenda here except looking for imbalances and looking for more bullish momentum. Here we should go lower, but price action is kind of consolidating and getting messy here a bit. So it's not a perfect entry. It gapped down and fulfilled its objective here. So here it's an obvious imbalance. So look for this one. Yeah, but this is also in the middle, so I'm not pretty psyched to trade this. Yeah, look at this huge consolidation here. Wow. So yeah, we still got this price action that makes no sense down here, meaning price could come back here, and this looks like all of this is liquidity. So yes, this looks pretty bearish to me too, and we had this imbalance, and guess what, price tapped into it and boom, going lower. So that's it. Yeah, but here tricky. So this could be a potential one. I don't know. This one's just flying higher and just reacting to this imbalance here. Look at this. So this is external. So yeah, this one's pretty interesting. Yeah, should we shift here higher? We could potentially, I'm not pretty sure with this trade totally, but following the rules, this could play out. Yeah, and we could shift higher, so this is something to look out for, and that's basically it. I'm not analyzing those, like let's do it pretty quickly. Yeah, just going lower, kind of going lower, going lower. That's $1 obviously first, kind of going lower, going lower, going lower, going lower, though in this imbalance, and kind of consolidating, going lower. Alright, now that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this week. I'm setting my alarms right now, and we just have to wait. Have a nice week, everyone.